What should you not do while flying? Hi, I'm Morgan, and this is a travel discussion. This is a discussion because I will state some things that I think are general no-nos when flying, but I would like to hear from everyone else what you think you should not do while you're flying. If you have a tablet, a laptop, or a phone, and you are watching any type of content that generates a sound, and this includes children, you should be wearing headphones. One of the reasons is that during flight, you will have a lot of background noise because the plane generates a lot of noise, which means for you to be able to hear the content you are viewing, you have to turn the volume up really high. And if you're not wearing headphones or earbuds, everyone around you within a 10-foot radius is going to be hearing the content that you are watching. The second thing is the armrest in the middle seat. If you are sitting in a middle seat, you should have access to both of the middle seat armrests. And I'm talking about the back part of them where you can put your elbows out. The front part, the other person can put their other elbow a little further, and I will die on that hill. I think that is a common courtesy that everyone should adhere to. If you've watched some of my earlier videos, you may have seen the one about seat size shrinking on airplanes over time. The person in the middle has far less room to wiggle around. The person in the window can lean towards the window. The person in the aisle can move into the aisle a little bit, as long as they're not impeding upon the activities of the flight attendants as they go up and down the aisle. So the person sitting in the middle has a very small amount of room to be able to put themselves and spread out and get comfortable. The last one is seat swaps, and I have several points to make about seat swaps. The first point with seat swaps is stealing somebody else's seat. So whether it's because you want to sit beside the person you're traveling with, you thought it was open or it was a better seat, and you just decided to take it and see what would happen. If someone paid for that seat, unless there is a really urgent need for them to swap with you, and unless the seat that they're swapping for is of equal value, then you should expect that they should not have to swap with you. And at the same time, if someone is traveling with children, unfortunately, a lot of airlines don't have friendly booking policies for seating parents with their children or adults who are traveling with children with those children. But I do feel strongly that it's, first of all, a safety issue. Children should have an adult who's responsible for them and make sure that they are taken care of, but also the behavioral aspect. So I do feel like parents should be seated with their children in all situations. And so if you are able to swap for a seat of equal value, I do feel like you should do that. And it's a no-no to say, no, this is my seat, without regard to what you would be swapping for. But that doesn't mean that if someone is sitting at the front of the plane and they book that seat because they want to be at the front, they have a tight connection and your seat's at the back, maybe they don't want to swap. So maybe try to swap with someone else. And this last one, and this is based on a lot of experience, talking really loudly on the plane, especially if it is a very early or a very late flight. I have been seated in the middle of the plane before and been able to hear every word of a conversation that was happening at the front of the plane or the back of the plane because someone is essentially shouting their entire conversation. And I'm not talking about people who have disabilities related to hearing. My own father was completely deaf, and I'm very, very, very familiar with how loud someone who cannot hear themselves can talk. However, those people typically, if you say you're speaking really loud, they will stop because they don't know what's happening. I'm talking about people who maybe had a ton of drinks with their friends right before they got on the plane, and they are having an absolute party on a 5 a.m. flight or a 10 p.m. flight, and there are people who are trying to get a little bit of rest. It's okay to have a good time, and it's okay to have a different experience on the plane than everybody around you. However, try to contain it to your own area, and don't force everyone else to have a Vegas party at 10 p.m. when people are maybe coming back from visiting family or from a funeral. So this is a discussion, and I do want to hear what other people think. If you disagree with some of the things that I said, I would love to hear about it. And if you have some other things that you feel do not belong on planes or people should adhere to, spoken or unspoken rules, Let me know in the comments. Follow my page if you would like to stay up to date on travel tips and aviation safety alerts.